You know, this is turning into one of those math problems that reads like, if a train leaves Paris at 5:54 p.m. with 3 dozen fresh baguettes, and a bicyclist leaves Amsterdam after eating 2 of those gigantic pancakes, how many ducks get to eat free at Subway in Des Moines, Iowa? And a math problem that goofy can only be pointing to one thing. That's Donald Trump's ballroom. And you'll recall back in February of last year, Trump's ballroom, would cost $200 million. All of it private. By December, $400 million. No taxpayer dollars. But this week, the contractor's own internal paperwork put the real cost at around $600 million. Hell, the way that Trump's economy is driving inflation, by Labor Day, the ballroom will cost more than the GDP of Portugal. And that's before Trump adds a moat full of gold-painted alligators or whatever tacky crap he decides to add. But it's not the price tag that's the most offensive part. My outrage here is driven by what Donald Trump promised standing there in the Oval Office. Standing in front of reporters back in the spring, he said, "This is taxpayer-free. We've got no taxpayer putting up 10 cents. He said it would be paid 100% by him and some friends of mine. Beautiful, patriotic, a grand gift to the nation. Not one dime of your money."
This is being financed privately. It's a donation that's being given by companies, very rich people, so that for 150 years they've wanted a ballroom here. We're going to have the finest ballroom, I believe, anywhere in the world. And he said, we need congressional approval. Well, they don't get congressional approval from the White House. When they do things, they don't, especially when we didn't ask for any tax money. We have no tax. This is taxpayer-free. We have no taxpayer putting up 10 cents. And I see right here, I just wrote it out, he said, we need congressional approval. Well, we built many things at the White House over the years. They don't get congressional approval when they build in the White House. It's totally separate. And especially when it's a donation. I mean, the ballroom is a donation. What's not covered perfectly is the fact that the judge said we need congressional approval. Many things have been built in the White House. They haven't gotten congressional approval, especially when the money is being not put up by the taxpayer. The taxpayer's not putting up a dime.
Survey says that's a lie. A big, greasy, marble-floored lie. And we know it's a lie because the Washington Post got the contractor's actual estimate from Clark Construction, the firm that's doing the job. And they told the White House back in March that the project is going to run $600 million. And of that, only $293 million is coming from private donors. The rest, more than $300 million, comes from people like you and me.
But I'll give you an example. You have right here $300 to $400 million, depending on finishes. If I use very expensive marble, if I use very expensive wall coatings, if I could bring it up to 400. Otherwise, we're right now ahead of schedule, we're under budget. But depending on finishes, from $300 to $400 million are being given by great people, people that you all know. Rich people, rich companies, big companies. So we feel, and we don't feel, we know that congressional approval is not necessary to put up a ballroom. And many things have been built on the site, they've never gotten congressional approval. And especially when the money is all put up. This is all donations by people that love our country, that love the White House, and that feel it was very necessary.
And we have sources of this taxpayer money. It's coming from other programs. $155 million out of the Secret Service. $149 million from the White House's military office. $3 million from the executive residence. Even people inside the White House called tapping the Secret Service for this a real stretch of the agency's mission. You think? You've got men and women who throw their bodies in front of danger, and now they are apparently the chandelier acquisition department for Pharaoh's spray tan over there. And when Congress sniffed this out, Trump's pals tried to ram through that separate $1 billion in ballroom security funding. And it was conveniently after that suspicious correspondence dinner incident. And to their credit, 7 Republicans crossed the aisle and helped the Democrats end that bill. Even Susan Collins, she's not exactly famous for her spine, said that Donald Trump's own pledge to his donors should be kept. And I just want to keep going back to the big picture here, right? This ballroom, $600 million. And yet, grocery prices are still punching people like you and me in the face every single week. Rent and mortgage, it's brutal. Healthcare costs skyrocketing. And you have the President of the United States tearing down the historic East Wing of the White House, dumping rubble at a golf course like a mobster, and now he's reaching into the budget of his own bodyguards so that he can build himself this 999-seat ballroom that the average taxpayer will only ever see from 200 yards away through an iron fence. You are literally paying for a party you'll never be invited to in a house that you are no longer allowed to think it's yours. And let's talk about these friends of mine, these Trump donors that are covering the private half. I've covered it a little bit, but think about it. This is its own little swamp. And remember, when a president builds a personal monument to himself and lets corporate donors chip in 9 figures, just ask, what do those donors have in front of the federal government? Because a lot of those deep pockets that were writing the ballroom checks are companies that also hold or want bigger federal contracts worth far more than they are donating. They might also have mergers or investigations that the right political influence could definitely impact. Meanwhile, the part of it that you and I are being forced to pay, that keeps climbing. $200 million, $400 million, $600 million. Every few weeks, that number grows and it adds another comma. And for every few weeks, the excuse just gets a fresh coat of paint. This is Donald Trump's entire con poured into just one tacky building. Take this public thing, slap your ego, your name on it, bill the public, and then say it's a gift to the nation. Donald Trump told us that this would cost us nothing. And now it's going to cost us more than $300 million and counting, and it's coming out of the budget of the people that are risking their lives to save his. Do me a favor, hit that notification icon down there because whenever they do fuzzy math, I want you to know about it.